Good afternoon. Well, it's Friday the 17th, and I pray that as we go into the weekend, you're doing great, feeling good, staying safe. I think I mentioned it the other day, but I saw a post on Facebook where somebody had listed vertically like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then they crossed out the Mon, Tu, Wed, so that you just had day, 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 day. And that's kind of like how we're at right now, isn't it? Every day seems much like another, and they all sort of run together. So that's why I'm mentioning it's the 17th. Somebody asked me to do that, and it's Friday. So allegedly the end of the work week. So I pray that you're all doing fine. I looked up what happened on the 17th of April in some prior years. In 1962, that was the year that the polio vaccine was approved for worldwide use. And here we are 60 years later. Who would ever have dreamed that we would all be locked up in our homes because of a worldwide health pandemic? It's amazing the breakthroughs that we've had in medicine and technology in so many areas, and yet it's amazing, isn't it, that we're back here facing a major health crisis. Back in 1962, 58,000 people. No, excuse me, I looked it up. It was 1952. In that year alone, there were 58,000 cases of polio diagnosed in the US. And I don't know where we're at right now with this present health crisis, but I know I think worldwide it's over 1 million. So it is interesting. I also saw that on this day, it was in 1991, that the Dow Jones did something unusual. Now, I don't know if you watch the Dow and the stock market. I don't watch it a lot because I think there's enough things to focus on without focusing on that. But it is interesting. I saw that today it's at 24,000 some, and people are wringing their hands because a few weeks ago it was at 29,000. But in 1991, on this day, it went across 3,000 for the first time. So, wow, what a difference a few years makes. I know I've talked to you before, but we have several members of our family that are in one way or another involved in this crisis, either as healthcare workers or as with an interest in science and all of what goes behind it. And I saw a really touching video yesterday of a captain on an airplane that was taking a number of folks to the New York area, and he was just literally almost in tears, thanking them for their sacrifice. And I know that around the world, people are tipping their hat to the first responders. And then I thought about that word, the first responder. I don't think any of us watching this are likely first responders in the traditional accepted sense of that term. But I wonder whether we should be first responders. Some weeks ago, Denise and I were off somewhere. I don't remember where. We know it was a few weeks ago because we can't go anywhere now. But a few weeks ago, Mark brought a lesson in class, and he talked about the Good Samaritan. And it made me think that the Good Samaritan himself was a first responder. Others came along prior to him. There was the priest, and you know the story. But it was the Good Samaritan that was a first responder. The others observed, but they didn't respond. And I'm not going to give you too much of a preview onto what I'm going to speak about on Sunday. You know where we're at. We're in Matthew 25, and we're reading that last segment of Matthew 25. You may want to read it this week. It starts at verse 31, goes to the end of the chapter. But I do want to tell you that I believe that as followers of Christ, we should be first responders. Now, that doesn't mean that we're all going to get on a plane and go off to New York, but it does mean that we need to cultivate an attitude and a desire to be first responders. I have to tell you that that's something I have to work at. When a need comes up, my wife is a whole lot better than I am at reaching out and saying, well, we have this and can we help? And she recognizes need and is very selfless in giving what she has or what we have to help meet that need. Sometimes it's not as easy for me. Now you say, well, get over it. Well, I'm trying. And so these little talks that I give every day, half the time are really aimed at me and not at you. You just get to listen in. But you know what? I want to be a first responder. When I see a need, I want to have a heart of compassion. I want the Lord to move on me. We've talked many times in class over the years about how do you respond to those who stand on the street corner and those who come up to you and ask for help. And I guess I'm too analytical and too skeptical or whatever. But many of you'll know who I'm talking about when I mention Richard, who was a businessman that fell on hard times and ended up being a key leader at one of our outreaches at the church. And his word to us was when somebody asks, respond, give. Don't try to analyze why or what were they doing. It's interesting to me that in that story of the Good Samaritan, first of all, let's note that label good and Samaritan don't belong together if you're a Jew. If you're a Jew, there are no good Samaritans. They're all not up to our standard, if you know what I'm saying. And the Samaritan, likewise, he could have looked at that Jewish man who'd fallen in the way of thieves, and he could have said, well, he should have known better, and he could have come up with a long list of reasons why he shouldn't become involved. But when I hear that term now every day, just about a first responder, I think, well, I want to be a first responder. I want to be somebody that when I see a need, I'm moved to help meet that need. Now, when you read Matthew 25, try and read it before it comes to Sunday, because I want to see what you think as you come through that chapter. If you're not careful, you're going to reach some wrong conclusions. But how about you? Do you want to be a first responder, or do you want to be somebody that catalogs all the reasons why you shouldn't respond? I just know from watching those folks who are going off to New York that every one of them, if you gave them opportunity, could explain all the reasons that they shouldn't go. But those folks are responding despite their personal situations, and they're responding out of a desire to help meet some needs. So as you view their actions in the light of Matthew 25, on Sunday I'll try and get through and explain why that scripture that we're going to read is not contradictory to what I'm saying today. So I just pray that even today you'll find a way to respond to a need. I've said it before on these little little daily talks that if you want to have friends, be friendly. And I think if you want to be blessed, find a way to be a blessing. And for me, I'm going to try and keep watching and learning from my wife. And there are so many of you that I know are like that. I'm not going to mention names, but I've watched some of you go above and beyond anything that could be reasonably expected. But that's what people do when they're first responders. So I think if it wasn't for the fact that I would be accused of being opportunistic or something, it'd be great if Maranatha was known as a class of first responders, not to try and compete with or include ourselves in a highly honored group, but just by our actions. Let's not be people who see needs and cross over to the other side. And I'm asking for the Lord's strength and wisdom and his input and reminding me that it's not my responsibility to worry about what the guy is going to do after I've helped him. Samaritan didn't try to analyze, now, if I help you, are you going to do X, Y, or Z? He just saw a need and he help reach out and fill it. So that's my thought for the day. Sure, love you all. Praying that you're staying safe, stay socially distanced. I saw a picture today of somebody demonstrating what that looks like, and it looks like you're holding a broom up in your arm's length, and that's how far away you need to be away from people. A broom held up at arm's length. So bear that in mind, and I'll see you again tomorrow. Bless you all. Have a great day. Love you. Bye bye.